Last night, Harlem Eubank's dreams of a world title fight got dragged into a bloody war in London. Multiple knockdowns, cuts. Is this the kind of loss that breaks a career? Or can it make one? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Back on boxing after a little bit of a detour with the World Cup and football. Go and check those videos out if you haven't seen them. One or two of them caused quite a stir, but there we go. So what about this? Okay, I'll charge it up. Sorry about that. By gum. So what about this fight? We watched it last night in the back of the motorhome, me and my son. It was amazing. It really, really was. But a little bit about Eubank and Papot for those that are casual boxing fans. Eubank, the name rings a bell, doesn't it? And so it should. So Harlem Eubank is actually part of the Eubank boxing family. So he's Chris Eubank's nephew. And so he's been building momentum with wins over guys like Tyrone, McKenna, Erdogan, Schwarzkopf. And he came into this with only one previous defeat. What about David Papot? This is a very experienced fighter. He's got over 30 wins on his record, 35-year-old. I should mention that Eubank is 32, I believe. But Papot's got very few losses. On paper, he's not a huge puncher, but he's got some very solid fundamentals. And boy, does he look good in the ring. I mean, talk about his technique and his skills. And they were fighting for the vacant IBF International Welterweight title. So it's a big opportunity for him from home. So let's break it down. There was a very early shock. Okay, round one was, they were just basically having a look at one another. Very few punches were thrown in round one. In round two, Eubank gets dropped, and it was a proper one as well. I mean, he went right down on his backside, and you could tell in the slow-mo it was a great punch by Papot, and then it started to shift. The mid fight, Eubank really started to get back into this in a big way. He was the aggressor throughout, which kind of flipped this on its head, because a lot of the pundits were expecting Papot to be on the front foot and Eubank countering. But it was a role reversal. It was Eubank as the aggressor. And in being the aggressor, because he was against such a technical fighter, he was getting caught. But towards the middle of the fight, Eubank started to get some real momentum, and he knocked down Papot. So Papot hits the deck, and then there was cuts galore. I mean, very early on, Harlem Eubank, his right eye was quite badly cut, to be fair. I think the corner did a tremendous job keeping that cut controlled. He then got another cut just underneath his left eye. Papot was starting to get cut up. I mean, there was just cuts and blood everywhere with this one. But I have to say, Papot's composure throughout, the way that he stayed disciplined, picking his counter, he was so sharp. It was just watching this guy. It's a great division, this, because you've got that combination of power, but you've got the speed. I really understand why people call this the glamour division, because to the eye, it is just, you've really got the best of both worlds. So you've got big guys relatively speaking, but you've got the speed. So as it went into the championship rounds, as we call them, Papot scores more knockdowns. He scored a knockdown late in the 10th round, which we needed the bell to go there for Harlem. We needed it to go, because I think if there'd have been any more time, Papot almost backed off, which was, I found quite interesting. He didn't really go to take him out there, was one of my observations. And then, in the 11th round, Eubank went down. I think he went down twice. Forgive me if I'll stand corrected on that. But the bottom line is that Eubank finished on his feet, and he finished strong. He was in round 12. He was laying it all out there, and it was amazing. And Papot won a unanimous decision. The scores were 115 to 110, 113 to 111, and 115 to 109. I think a lot of the pundits had it a bit closer than that. But again, the knockdowns, 4 knockdowns in total, I believe, in the fight for Papot. So he became the new IBF International Welterweight champion. It's a huge career-defining win for him. The knockdowns were the difference, really, in this fight. It would have been very, very tight. Could have gone Eubank's way, in fairness, without those late knockdowns, I think. And, what does this mean for Eubank? Because he was amazing. He really was amazing. I think it's a reality check. It's not career over by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he won over a lot of fans last night. He needs a tighter defense in my mind. That was the bit that he's got the aggression, he's got the heart, he's just incredible. He's a warrior. People use that term loosely in my mind. Harlem Eubank is a warrior. There's no two ways about it. But his defense needs work, especially against southpaws. Southpaws really kind of make certain fighters unravel, don't they? He needs to manage distance better, rather than walking straight in behind. He tends to go quite low there for the body, but he's just leaving himself exposed. I'm talking like I'm thinking of an expert here. What does this mean for Papot? Well, this is a huge away win for Papot, and the belt puts himself in the IBF very much in the mix. Now he becomes a dangerous who needs him fight in some respects for contenders. He's solid, he's tough, he's awkward, and now he's proven. When you go in the distance, you're in hostile. He's proven away as well in hostile territory. So, just having the fight on your own turf isn't necessarily going to give you. There's so many French fans there last night. I mean, the turnout by the French was quite incredible. So, I think there's definitely going to be a European title shot. There'll be, potentially another UK main event. I think we like Papot. I think we'd love to see him here again in the UK. So, quick recap: Harlem and Eubank, they showed heart, they showed guts. David Papot showed the kind of composure and discipline that's needed to win on these big nights. Tell me what you think. Do you want to see a rematch, or do you want to see a fresh opponent for Eubank? Drop your scorecards in the comments, and thanks for watching. Give us a little like, give us a subscribe, and see you on the next one. Take care.